Jake Miller walked through the massive doors of the Galactic Academy's main hall. The building reached high into the purple sky, made of materials that seemed to shift and change color as he moved. Around him, beings from across the galaxy gathered for orientation day. He saw creatures with multiple eyes, some floating without legs, others with skin that glowed like stars. A group of tall, thin beings with blue skin whispered as he passed. Their long fingers pointed at him, but Jake just smiled and waved. He was used to being different. The orientation hall was huge, with seats that adjusted to fit any body type. Jake found a spot near the middle and sat down. The chair molded itself to his human form, which felt weird, but comfortable. "Greetings, new students," a voice echoed through the hall. At the front floated Professor Glorp, a being made entirely of translucent green gel. "Welcome to the Galactic Academy, where the brightest minds from all worlds come to learn." Jake looked around at his classmates. To his left sat a crystalline being whose body reflected rainbow colors. To his right, an elegant creature with silver skin and flowing white hair watched the professor with 4 bright eyes. "Let us begin with introductions," Professor Glorp said. "State your name, species, and homeworld." One by one, students stood up. The crystalline being next to Jake clinked as it moved. "I am Shard, of the Vexian people from the peaceful world of Crystalia," it said in a voice like wind chimes. The silver-skinned student was next. "I am Kelara, daughter of the Xylothian Empire, from the garden world of Xyloth Prime." When Jake's turn came, he stood up confidently. "I'm Jake Miller, human from Earth." The room went silent. Every eye, tentacle, and sensory organ turned toward him. Professor Glorp's gel-like body rippled with what looked like shock. "Earth?" Kelara whispered. Her 4 eyes wide. "The Category 12 Deathworld?" Yeah," Jake said, confused by the reaction. "Is that a problem?" Several students moved away from him. Shard's crystalline body developed a small crack. In the back, a delicate being with wings like butterfly wings fainted. Professor Glorp quivered. Class dismissed. We will resume tomorrow." As students rushed out, Jake stood there puzzled. Kelara hesitated near the door, staring at him. "You're really from Earth?" she asked. "Born and raised," Jake replied. "Why is everyone acting so strange?" "Your world." Kelara's voice shook. "It's classified as one of the most dangerous planets in the known galaxy. Extreme gravity, deadly predators, toxic atmosphere, violent weather patterns." "Oh," Jake scratched his head. "I guess I never thought about it that way. It's just home to me." Kelara backed away slowly. "The stories say humans can survive poisons that kill most species instantly, that you hunt for entertainment, that your planet tries to kill you every day. Well, we do have some dangerous animals," Jake admitted, "and I guess our weather can be pretty rough sometimes. But it's not that bad." "Not that bad." Shard had returned, keeping a safe distance. "Your oceans contain creatures that can swallow ships whole. Your forests hide predators that hunt in packs. Even your tiny insects can kill." Jake laughed. "You mean sharks and wolves? They usually leave people alone. And yeah, some spiders and snakes are venomous, but they're more scared of us than we are of them." Both aliens stared at him in horror. "You laugh about it?" Shard's voice cracked like his crystalline surface. "Look," Jake said, trying to be friendly. "Earth might be dangerous compared to other planets, but humans adapted. We learn to work together, build cities, create technology. We're not monsters." "But you come from a death world," Kelara insisted. "No one survives death worlds." "Well, about 8 billion of us do," Jake smiled. The 2 aliens exchanged glances and hurried away, leaving Jake alone in the empty hall. He sighed and picked up his belongings. "Great first day," he muttered to himself. "I came here to make friends and learn about the galaxy, and instead, everyone thinks I'm some kind of super predator." As he walked back to his dormitory, Jake wondered how he would convince his classmates that humans weren't the terrifying creatures they imagined. He had no idea that tomorrow would only make things worse. The next day, Jake entered the academy cafeteria, a vast circular room with food, stations for every species. Floating orbs delivered meals to students who sat at tables that changed height and shape automatically. The smell of 100 different cuisines filled the air. Jake grabbed a tray and walked to the human-compatible food section. He noticed other students giving him lots of space. Some even left their tables when he walked by. "Mind if I sit here?" Jake asked a group of students. They scattered like frightened birds, leaving their half-eaten meals behind. Jake sighed and sat down, alone. He had picked up a sandwich with hot peppers, a cup of coffee, and a chocolate bar for dessert. "Is this seat taken?" a cheerful voice asked. Jake looked up to see a human girl with short black hair and bright eyes. She carried a tray with similar food choices. "Another human," Jake said, relieved. "Please sit down, I'm Jake." "Lisa Chen," she replied, taking a seat. "Just arrived this morning. Why is everyone staring at us like we're dangerous animals?" "Apparently, Earth is classified as a Category 12 Deathworld," Jake explained. "Everyone here thinks we're some kind of super predators," Lisa laughed. "Seriously? Because of what? Bears and storms?" Their conversation was interrupted by gasps from nearby tables. Jake was about to bite into his sandwich when Kalara approached their table, keeping a safe distance. "Stop," she cried. "That food will kill you." Jake paused, sandwich halfway to his mouth. "It's just turkey and peppers." "Those red objects are classified as biological weapons," Kalara insisted. "The capsaicin content is lethal to 90% of known species." Lisa took a big bite of her own pepper-laden sandwich. Spicy. "Want some?" Several aliens at nearby tables fainted. Shard, who was watching from across the room, developed another crack in his crystalline body. "And that dark liquid?" Kalara pointed at Jake's coffee with a trembling finger. "Pure poison. The caffeine levels would stop my hearts instantly." "Hearts? Plural?" Lisa asked, taking a sip of her own coffee. "Most species have multiple hearts," Jake explained. "Humans are weird for only having one." "One heart?" A small, furry creature at the next table squeaked. "But what if it stops?" "Then we die," Lisa said casually, breaking off a piece of her chocolate bar. More gasps filled the cafeteria. The furry creature rolled over, apparently unconscious. "Please stop," Kalara begged. "That brown substance contains theobromine. It's used in chemical warfare." Jake and Lisa looked at each other, then at their chocolate bars. "This is just candy," Jake said. "Children eat this on Earth." "You feed toxins to your offspring?" Shardy had approached, his crystalline form tinkling with each step. "For entertainment? It's not toxic to us," Lisa explained. "Humans evolved with different chemistry. What's dangerous to you might be food to us." Professor Glorp oozed into the cafeteria, his gelatinous form quivering with concern. "What's happening here? Why are students unconscious?" "The humans are consuming lethal substances, Professor," Kalara reported. Professor Glorp examined Jake and Lisa's trays. His green form turned slightly pale. "Class 3 toxins, military-grade stimulants, and... Is that chemical warfare agent XB7? "It's chocolate," Jake and Lisa said together. "Perhaps," Professor Glorp said carefully. "The human students should eat in a designated area, for everyone's safety." "But we're not doing anything wrong," Lisa protested. "Your very existence challenges our understanding of biology," the professor replied. "Please finish your meal, away from the other students." Jake and Lisa gathered their trays and moved to an empty corner of the cafeteria. The other students watched them like they were handling nuclear weapons. "This is ridiculous," Lisa muttered, taking another bite of her sandwich. "How are we supposed to make friends if everyone's terrified of us?" "Maybe we need to show them we're not dangerous," Jake suggested. "How? By not eating?" Lisa dipped her chocolate in her coffee. Several watching aliens covered their eyes in horror. "Tomorrow's physical education class," Jake said. "Maybe if they see we're just normal students." Lisa grinned. "Something tells me that's going to make things worse." They finished their lunch, while the entire cafeteria watched in fascinated terror, wondering how these Deathworlders could consume so many lethal substances and still smile. The Physical Education Center was a huge dome with gravity controls, climate adjustments, and equipment for every species. Coach Zix, a four-armed reptilian being, stood before the class of nervous students. "Today we test your physical limits," Coach Zix announced. "Each species will use settings appropriate for their biology." Jake and Lisa stood with their classmates, wearing standard academy athletic gear. The other students kept their distance, whispering among themselves. "First, the endurance course," Coach Zix pointed to an obstacle track. "Gravity will be adjusted for each participant." A Phalian student named Whisper went first. The gravity lowered to 0.3 g, and she gracefully floated through the course in 5 minutes. Other students followed, each with customized settings. "Humans," Coach Zix called. "Standard Earth gravity is 1 g?" He checked his tablet twice. "That can't be right." "That's correct," Jake confirmed. The coach's scales turned pale. "But that's combat training level. Very well, proceed." Jake stepped onto the course. The gravity adjusted, and several students gasped as he remained standing upright. He started running, easily jumping over barriers that others had carefully climbed. "He's not floating," Kellara exclaimed. "How is he moving so fast in that gravity?" Jake completed the course in 2 minutes flat. He wasn't even breathing hard. "Impossible," Coach Zix muttered. "Lisa Chen, you're next." Lisa matched Jake's time, doing a cartwheel at the finish line. The watching aliens backed away further. "Next test, strength assessment," Coach Zix announced, still looking shaken. "Lift what you can safely manage." Most students lifted objects ranging from 5 to 50 pounds depending on their species. When Jake's turn came, he casually picked up a 200-pound weight. "Would you like me to try something heavier?" he asked. Coach Zix dropped his tablet. "No, please, no. That's sufficient." The climbing wall was next. Most aliens used anti-gravity assists or specialized equipment. Jake and Lisa free-climbed it using only their hands and feet. "They stick to surfaces," a gelatinous student gurgled in alarm. "Like predators." "It's just rock climbing," Lisa called down. "We do this for fun on Earth." "Fun?" Whisper squeaked before fainting again. The final test involved reaction speed. Students stood in a circle while soft foam balls were launched at them from different directions. Most aliens managed to dodge 1 or 2 before getting hit. Jake and Lisa dodged, caught, and threw back every single ball. They even started playing catch with each other while avoiding the launcher's projectiles. "Enough!" Coach Zix shouted. "Class dismissed." As students hurried to leave, Shard approached Jake cautiously. "How do you survive your world if these are your normal abilities?" "Earth isn't trying to kill us," Jake explained. "These abilities evolved because of our environment, not in spite of it. But your strength, speed, endurance." Shard's crystal body clinked nervously. "Humans aren't even the strongest species on Earth," Lisa added. "Gorillas are stronger, cheetahs are faster, and lots of animals have better endurance." This information caused 3 more students to faint. "You have creatures stronger than you?" Kellara asked in horror. "And you survived?" "We used our brains," Jake tapped his head. "Humans aren't the toughest or fastest, but we're smart, and we work together." Coach Zix reviewed his tablet with shaking claws. "According to these readings, humans operate at levels we reserve for military training. Your muscle density, oxygen processing, heat regulation. We're really just average for our planet," Lisa insisted. "Average?" The coach's scales shifted through several colors. "If you're average, what are your athletes like?" Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. "Maybe we shouldn't tell them about the Olympics," Jake whispered. "Or marathons," Lisa agreed. As they left the gymnasium, their classmates maintained a 20-foot safety radius around them. Whisper had to be carried out by medical staff after fainting for the 3rd time. "I think we made things worse," Lisa said. "Yeah," Jake sighed. "Tomorrow's culture class should be interesting. Maybe we should skip the part about extreme sports." "Definitely. Skip skydiving." Lisa nodded. And maybe don't mention that humans climb Mount Everest for fun. Behind them, Coach Zix was updating the human physical assessment files, adding more warning labels than any other species in Academy history. Cultural exchange class took place in a circular room with holographic projectors. Professor Valora, a tall being with shimmering scales, welcomed the students. Today, each of you will share your homeworld's recreational activities, she announced. Let's learn how different species relax and have fun. The presentations began with Whisper showing how Phalians dance in low gravity, creating beautiful light patterns with their wings. Shard demonstrated Vexian crystal harmonics, a peaceful meditation using sound frequencies. When Jake's turn came, he walked to the front confidently. On Earth, we enjoy many outdoor activities. Let me show you camping. The hologram displayed humans setting up tents in a forest. The alien students watched with interest until the scene changed to nighttime. Wait, Kalara interrupted. You sleep outside, without protective barriers? Sure, Jake said. It's fun to sleep under the stars. But what about predators? Shard asked, his crystal form trembling. We build a campfire, Jake explained as the hologram showed flames. It keeps animals away and provides warmth. You deliberately create fire? In a forest? Professor Valora's scales turned pale blue. It's controlled, Jake assured her. Now let me show you swimming. The hologram switched to a beach scene. Humans splashed in ocean waves while others laid on the sand. Stop, several students shouted at once. Those are Earth oceans, Whisper cried. They contain thousands of lethal creatures and toxic levels of salt, added another student. The sharks usually don't come near beaches, Jake said casually. And jellyfish stings aren't that bad. Half the class was now hiding behind their desks. Lisa took over. Maybe something less scary. How about skiing? The hologram showed people sliding down snow-covered mountains at high speed. You throw yourselves down frozen peaks? Professor Valora asked weakly. For entertainment? The best part is jumping, Lisa added helpfully, showing ski jumpers flying through the air. Shard developed 3 new cracks. Whisper fainted for the 4th time that week. Perhaps something calmer, Jake suggested. Here's a football game. The hologram displayed 2 teams of armored humans violently colliding with each other while chasing a ball. This is a game? Kalara whispered. It looks like warfare. Oh no, this is just for fun, Lisa explained. War is much worse. The class collectively shuddered. Maybe we should show them hiking, Jake tried again. The scene changed to people climbing steep mountain trails. One hiker slipped but caught himself on the edge of a cliff. They could die, a furry student shrieked. Rarely, Jake said. That's what makes it exciting. Professor Valora raised a trembling hand. Perhaps we should move on to another student's presentation. But I haven't shown you skydiving yet, Jake protested. No, the entire class shouted. Or bungee jumping, Lisa added. Please stop, Professor Valora begged. I think we understand Earth recreation now. Do you? Jake asked. Because I haven't even mentioned scuba diving with sharks, or free climbing, or… Enough. The professor's scales were now completely white. Class dismissed early. I need to update Earth's cultural danger rating. As students fled the classroom, Kalara approached Jake and Lisa carefully. Can I ask something? She said. Do humans ever do anything safe? Jake thought for a moment. We watch movies. While eating your toxic snacks? Kalara sighed. And some. Movies have scary parts, Lisa added. Horror films are great. Kalara backed away. Your species voluntarily frightens itself for entertainment? It's fun to be scared sometimes, Jake explained. Gets the adrenaline going. You enjoy triggering your fight-or-flight response? Kalara looked horrified. That's a survival mechanism. Exactly, Lisa grinned. Surviving is fun. Kalara hurried away, muttering about Deathworlders and their insane idea of entertainment. Professor Valora was updating her files, adding a new section titled, Warning, Human Recreation May Cause Psychological Trauma to Other Species. Tomorrow is medical studies, Jake told Lisa as they left. Think they'll freak out when they learn about our immune systems? Definitely, Lisa laughed. Wait until they hear that we inject ourselves with weakened diseases on purpose. They walked down the corridor, unaware that security cameras were now tracking their movements and several faculty members were holding an emergency meeting about the human situation. Red warning lights flashed through the academy corridors. An automated voice repeated, "Containment breach in Biolab 7. All students report to quarantine zones immediately." Jake and Lisa ran with their classmates toward the designated safety areas. Aliens of all species crowded into sealed chambers, fear visible on their diverse faces. "What's happening?" Jake asked Professor Glorp, who was herding students into safety pods. "A Class 4 pathogen escaped containment. The gelatinous." Professor quivered. "The Xerxian flu, fatal to most known species within hours." Medical staff in full protective gear rushed past, scanning students with handheld devices. When they reached Jake and Lisa, the scanners beeped normally. "You two into Pod 18, a medic ordered." "But we feel fine," Lisa said. "Symptoms take time to appear." "Inside now." Hours passed. Through the transparent walls of their pod, Jake and Lisa watched as their classmates began showing symptoms. Kilara's silver skin turned gray. Shard's crystalline body clouded over. Whisper's wings drooped as she struggled to breathe. "This is bad," Jake muttered. A medic checked on them, surprised to find both humans still healthy. "No fever? No respiratory distress?" "Nope," Lisa replied. "We feel normal." The medic scanned them again. "Impossible. You've been exposed for 6 hours." By the 8th hour, every alien student showed severe symptoms except Jake and Lisa. Medical staff gathered outside, their pod arguing over scanner readings. "Let us help," Jake called out. "We can assist with the sick students." "You could be carriers," a doctor replied. "Test us," Lisa suggested. "If we're not sick by now, maybe we're immune." After extensive testing, the medical team confirmed what seemed impossible. The humans were completely unaffected by the deadly pathogen. "Your immune systems," the head doctor said in amazement. "They destroyed the virus within minutes of exposure." "Earth has lots of diseases," Jake explained. "Our bodies learn to fight them." The medical team had no choice. With most staff falling ill, they needed help. Jake and Lisa were given basic training and sent to care for their classmates. "Drink this," Jake told Kilara, offering medicine. Her 4 eyes were glazed with fever. "How are you not dying?" she whispered. "Human immune systems are pretty tough," Jake said, checking her temperature. "We deal with thousands of viruses and bacteria every day on Earth." In the next pod, Lisa helped Shard, whose crystal body had developed dozens of cracks. "The medicine should help," she assured him. "You touched me without protection," Shard said weakly. "You'll die. Humans have antibodies for similar viruses," Lisa explained. "Our bodies adapt quickly." For 2 days, Jake and Lisa worked tirelessly, bringing medicine, food, and comfort to their sick classmates. They cleaned pods, monitored vital signs, and never showed a single symptom. "It's not natural," Professor Glorp mumbled from his medical bed. "No species should survive this pathogen." "We inject ourselves with weakened viruses as children," Jake said, adjusting the professor's IV. "Vaccines help us build immunity." "You deliberately infect your young?" The professor's gel form rippled in shock. "To make them stronger," Lisa added, checking on Whisper in the next bed. As their classmates slowly recovered, they watched the humans with new understanding. Jake and Lisa hadn't just survived. They'd worked without rest to help others. "You could have stayed safe in your pod," Kilara said as her strength returned. "Why risk helping us?" "That's what humans do," Jake replied. "We help each other in crisis." "Even beings from other worlds?" Shard asked. "Especially then," Lisa smiled. "On Earth, we have a saying, no one fights alone." The outbreak ended after 5 days. The Academy's medical report classified humans as biological hazards, beneficial, and recommended they be trained as emergency medical responders. "Your Deathworld made you healers," Whisper said in wonder as she tested her wings. "Survival on Earth means working together," Jake explained. Our immune systems are strong because we've faced diseases together for thousands of years. For the first time, their classmates didn't back away from them. Instead, several aliens approached to say thank you. Maybe Deathworlders aren't so terrifying, Kellara admitted. Just wait until they hear about Earth hospitals, Lisa whispered to Jake. One shock at a time, he whispered back. Professor Zorak stood at the front of the Xeno-history classroom, his 6 eyes focused on the lesson plan. Today's topic: notable civilizations and their survival challenges. Now, class, we'll examine how different species overcame their planetary hardships, he began. Jake and Lisa sat in the middle row, finally accepted enough that other students didn't flee from them. Kellara even chose to sit nearby, though she still kept a respectful distance. The Vexians, Professor Zorax continued, survived the crystal storms of their homeworld by developing underground cities. Shard nodded proudly, his recently healed crystal form gleaming. The Xylothians mastered weather control to tame their planet's violent monsoons. Kellara straightened in her seat, her silver skin shimmering. And now, Professor Zorax hesitated. Earth. The room grew quiet. All eyes turned to Jake and Lisa. Perhaps our human students could share their species' history, the professor suggested carefully. Jake stood up. Sure. Where should I start? The beginning of your civilization would be appropriate, Professor Zorak said. Well, early humans. We're hunter-gatherers, Jake began. We lived in small groups following animal herds and seasonal plants. Following predators? Whisper gasped. No, following prey. Though sometimes predators followed us, Jake added casually. Saber-toothed tigers, cave bears, wolf packs. Several students shifted uncomfortably. Then came the Ice Age, Lisa chimed. Glaciers covered much of Earth. Many species went extinct, but humans adapted. We made better tools, created warmer clothing, and learned to control fire. You survived a planetary freeze? Kellara asked in amazement. Multiple ice ages, actually, Jake nodded. But that was just the beginning. We also dealt with massive volcanic eruptions, like the one that caused the year without summer. Professor Zorax's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. Please explain. A huge volcano exploded, filling Earth's atmosphere with ash, Lisa said. Crops failed worldwide. Millions starved. But humanity survived and rebuilt. The professor made notes with trembling tentacles. Then there were the plagues, Jake continued. The Black Death killed 1/3 of Europe's population. Gasps echoed through the classroom. Shard developed a stress crack. 1/3, Professor Zorax repeated weakly. Maybe more, Lisa added. But we developed better medicine and sanitation. Each disaster taught us something. What about conflicts? The professor asked hesitantly. Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. Well, there were the world wars. Jake said slowly. Wars that involved your entire world? Whisper's wings fluttered nervously. Twice, Lisa confirmed. Millions died. Cities were destroyed. But we rebuilt and created international organizations to prevent future conflicts. You mentioned something about nuclear weapons once, Shard said, immediately regretting it as his crystal form cracked again. Oh, right, Jake said. We developed bombs that could destroy entire cities. Used them twice, then realized we needed to control them before they destroyed us all. Professor Zorax dropped his electronic stylus. You created weapons that could end your species and then stopped? Most countries agreed they were too dangerous, Lisa explained. Though some still exist, unfortunately. The classroom was silent except for the sound of Shard's crystal body developing multiple new stress fractures. But it's not all war and disaster, Jake quickly added. Humans also worked together. We eradicated diseases, explored our planet, went to space, created art and music. We put robots on Mars, Lisa said proudly. Landed on our moon. Built a space station. Despite everything trying to kill you, you reached space? Kellara asked. Because of everything trying to kill us, Jake corrected. Each challenge made us stronger, smarter, more cooperative. Professor Zorax sat down heavily. Class dismissed. I need to process this information. As students filed out, many looked at Jake and Lisa with a mix of horror and respect. Your species survived all that? Whisper asked. And we're still here, Lisa smiled. 8 billion strong. I'm beginning to understand, Kelara said thoughtfully. Deathworlders aren't just dangerous, you're survivors. Exactly, Jake nodded. Earth taught us that working together is the only way to overcome impossible odds. Behind them, Professor Zorax was revising his lecture notes, adding a new section titled, Humans, the Species That Refuses to Die. Weeks had passed since the history lesson, and something strange was happening at the Galactic Academy. Jake and Lisa noticed other students actually approaching them in hallways, sitting closer in classes, and even asking questions about Earth. One morning, as Jake walked to his advanced mathematics class, he heard a commotion near the academy entrance. A group of senior students, all from warrior species, had cornered several freshmen. Hand over your meal credits, growled a large reptilian, senior with sharp teeth. Jake recognized Whisper and 2 other freshmen backed against a wall, trembling. He started walking toward them. Is there a problem here? Jake asked calmly. The seniors turned. Their leader, a 7-foot-tall Craxian named Throck, laughed. Mind your own business, Deathworlder. These are my classmates, Jake replied. That makes it my business. Throck's scales bristled. You think being from a Deathworld makes you tough? I've eaten creatures twice your size. Probably, Jake nodded. But I doubt they knew how to fight back. Lisa appeared beside Jake, having noticed the situation. The seniors shifted uncomfortably. They'd heard stories about the humans. 2 against 6? Throck sneered. Not very smart. We don't need to fight, Lisa said. We just need to stand here until you leave. The seniors hesitated. They'd seen the physical education scores. They'd heard about the humans working through the plague without rest. Most importantly, they'd learned that humans had survived wars that would have ended other species. This isn't over, Throck growled, but he and his group backed away. As the seniors left, Whisper's wings fluttered with relief. Thank you. But won't they come after you now? Probably not, Jake smiled. Bullies prefer easy targets. Word spread quickly. By lunch, everyone knew how the humans had faced down the senior bullies without throwing a single punch. You didn't even look scared, Kelara said as she joined them at their table. For the first time, she sat right next to Lisa without hesitation. We were a little scared, Lisa admitted, but sometimes you have to stand up anyway. More students began gathering around their table. Shard carefully approached, his crystal form showing only old crack marks now. Could you teach us? He asked. Not to fight, but to be brave? Jake and Lisa exchanged surprised looks. Bravery isn't about not being afraid, Jake explained. It's about doing what's right despite the fear. On Earth, we learn that strength comes from protecting others, Lisa added. The strongest human isn't the one who can lift the most or fight the best. It's the one who helps others. Over the next few days, a change swept through the freshman class. Students walked with more confidence. When the senior bullies appeared, groups of freshmen stood together instead of scattering. The humans are teaching us Earth philosophy, Whisper told Professor Glorp. They say, united we stand. The professor observed his transformed class with wonder. The Deathworlders hadn't made the other students violent or aggressive. Instead, they'd taught them courage and cooperation. One afternoon, Throck and his group tried one last time to intimidate the freshmen. They found Jake and Lisa sitting with 20 other students from various species. Still playing protector? Throck growled. Not playing, Jake replied, and not alone. The entire group stood up together. Kelara, Shard, Whisper, and others Jake and Lisa had helped during the plague. Even some students they barely knew. Throck looked at the united front and finally understood. The humans weren't dangerous because of their Deathworld strength. They were dangerous because they made others stronger too. Forget it, Throck muttered, walking away for good. That evening in the common room, Kellara raised a cup of her species' traditional drink. To our Deathworld friends, she announced, who taught us that the scariest thing about humans isn't their strength but their hearts. To friendship across the stars, Jake replied, raising his coffee cup. As they celebrated, none of them noticed Professor Glorp in the doorway, updating his report. Humans appear to be spreading their most dangerous trait, the ability to inspire courage in others. The end of the semester arrived with a grand ceremony in the Academy's main auditorium. Banners representing hundreds of worlds hung from the crystal ceiling, and students filled the vast space with excited chatter. Jake Miller stood backstage, adjusting his formal Academy uniform. His hands shook slightly, not from fear but from the honor of being chosen as the freshman speaker. Nervous? Lisa asked, appearing beside him. A little, Jake admitted. Speaking to thousands of aliens about unity? No pressure. Lisa laughed. Just remember, half of them used to run away when we walked by. Now look at us. The ceremony began with traditional greetings from various worlds. When Dean Vorthen, a distinguished being with spiral horns, called Jake's name, the auditorium fell silent. Jake walked to the podium, looking out at the sea of diverse faces. He spotted his friends in the front row. Kellara's silver skin gleaming, Shard's crystal form clear and crack-free, Whisper's wings spread proudly. Fellow students, Jake began, his voice steady. When I first came here, I didn't understand why. Everyone was afraid of me. I was just a kid from Earth, excited to meet beings from across the galaxy. Soft laughter rippled through the crowd. Many remembered their first reactions to the human students. I learned that my world is called a death world, that our gravity crushes others, that our food is poison to most species, that our idea of fun is everyone else's nightmare. He paused, smiling at his friends. But I also learned something more important. Fear comes from not understanding. My classmates were afraid because they didn't know that humans aren't trying to be scary. We're just trying to survive like everyone else. Murmurs of agreement spread through the audience. On Earth, we have tornadoes that can destroy cities, earthquakes that reshape landscapes, and yes, creatures that can eat us. But we also have sunsets that paint the sky in colors I can't describe, oceans that sing with whale songs, and forests that whisper ancient secrets. Jake's eyes found Professor Glorp in the faculty section. Earth didn't make us strong by being cruel. It made us strong by teaching us to work together, to help each other, to find beauty in challenge and hope in hardship. He gestured to his classmates. Each of your worlds shaped you too. Kellara's people mastered weather to save their world. Shard's people turned crystal storms into art. Whisper's people made gravity itself dance. We're all survivors in our own ways. The audience leaned forward, captivated. The amazing thing about this academy isn't that it brings together different species. It's that it shows us how our differences make us stronger together. When the plague hit, our immunity helped save lives. When bullies threatened, our courage inspired others. But we couldn't have done any of it alone. Jake's voice grew stronger. So, yes, I'm from a death world. But I've learned that every world has its challenges. What matters isn't where we come from, but what we do with the strength our homes gave us. He looked directly at his friends. To my fellow freshmen, thank you for teaching me that friendship crosses all boundaries. And to those still afraid of humans, I have an invitation. The auditorium held its breath. Come visit Earth someday. Yes, we have sharks and storms and spicy food, but we also have kindness, music, and the belief that anyone can be a friend. We'll keep you safe, show you our world's beauty, and prove that Deathworlders know how to host the best parties in the galaxy. Laughter and applause filled the auditorium. Several faculty members fainted, but many others clapped enthusiastically. As Jake returned to his seat, his friends surrounded him. Kellara surprised everyone by hugging him, something her species rarely did with other races. Well said, Deathworlder, she whispered. Dean Vorthen took the podium, still applauding. Perhaps, he announced, it's time to update our classification system. Earth might be dangerous, but its people bring something precious to the galaxy. The courage to turn strangers into friends. Jake and Lisa smiled, knowing they'd changed more than just classifications. They'd changed hearts across the stars.